Hello, my name is Lou Painter. Today I'm going to read from Chapter One of my book called The Alpha Reservation. And it's something that is very apropos for the climate of today. On the back, it says, "Can America be transformed into a communist nation? Impossible. Or is it?" Recently bankrupt St. Peter's Church in Salem, Massachusetts, has become the new corporate headquarters for the nation's most powerful law firm, the Voice of the People. Their goal? Make communism the ruling political party in the United States. When Rose v. Christ results in Christianity being illegal in California, Attorney Lee Armstrong is asked to battle Goliath and evil itself before the Supreme Court of the United States, a hearing that may culminate in Christians being banished to the Alpha Reservation. It is available at Amazon.com and Lulu.com. Chapter 1. In the very near future. It would be a storm to remember. A giant weather front had gathered Friday afternoon over the coastal village of Salem, Massachusetts. It was foreboding, ominous. The squall line stretched 30 miles. The 96-degree heat that had stifled the seaport for 3 consecutive days now caved to angry, forceful winds. Billowing black clouds blotted out the June sun, plunging Salem into unnerving darkness. A mere glance at the burgeoning tempest caused prudent people to gasp and seek shelter. Yet Paul Jackson sauntered with joyful purpose up the wide concrete stairway that led to the nation's most powerful law firm. Thunder roared and the sky exploded with a sharp crack. Still, the young attorney's step seemed lighter than air. When Jackson reached the top of the landing, he paused briefly to read the brass plate above the twin oak doors. National Headquarters, the Voice of the People, established 1920. The size of the former St. Peter's Episcopal Church was impressive. 3 stories, 90,000 square feet. The original 4-room church, built in 1733, had expanded through the years to its present mammoth size. However, in 2002, after several years of dwindling attendance and mounting deficits, the church was forced to declare bankruptcy. The Bishop of St. Peter's, with consent of the elders, made the difficult decision to sell the church. 30 days before the property listed, the Voice of the People made a generous offer, one too good to refuse. A contract was signed, and the next morning massive renovations began. Improvements that took 14 months to complete and totaled $60 million. What had once been a house of worship now served one consuming purpose: to make communism the ruling political party in the United States of America. Gone was the small wooden sign at the foot of the driveway that had proudly announced, "God lives in this house." A large brick marquee surrounded by flower beds and floodlights now boasted the Voice of the People. The church's 20 sleepy acres were landscaped into botanical gardens, and abundance of roses, along with superb collections of daylilies, daffodils, and tulips, had transformed the homely grounds into a classic beauty. 200 cherry trees, both white and pink blossoms, were purchased from nurseries in Winchester, Virginia, and strategically planted throughout the grounds. So scenic were the Roger Baldwin Gardens that tourists gladly stood in line for a 30-minute tour. The old gravel church parking lot and the playground facilities for the daycare had been bulldozed. An expanded parking area of fresh asphalt welcomed 4 times as many cars. Throughout the building, energy-efficient triple panes had replaced each window. First to go had been the stained glass biblical scenes. The church steeple had been toppled and hauled away. Its cast iron bell, which for nearly 300 years had announced Sunday morning service had been replaced with a satellite dish that linked the voice of the people to its 300 affiliate offices nationwide. To improve workspace efficiency, many of the church's 200 rooms had been merged. Walls had been knocked down. Interior lighting had been updated. Electrical wiring had been brought up to code. New plush gray carpeting covered the 90,000 square feet, and more than 200 thick oak doors had been installed. The roof had been replaced, and a new red brick facade now girded the exterior walls of the massive rectangular building. 65 Mayflower vans had trucked in 500 executive desks, 1,500 computers, a law library of 900,000 volumes, and every kind of hardware, software, and support material needed to conquer Christianity in the courtroom. Strategic ramparts had been erected, an auditorium with seating for 3,000, a 10-window corporate mailroom, a full-service printing department, a travel agency, and a 5-star dining hall. An executive heliport had been constructed on the roof of the 3rd floor. The corporate upgrades to Venerable St. Peter's Episcopal Church had transformed the old church into a modern legal citadel. 300 trial lawyers worked round the clock in 8-hour shifts within the stronghold. And on this dark, menacing Friday afternoon, 27-year-old Paul Jackson, the firm's brightest star, opened the oak door and entered the fortress like a knight returning to his castle. He stepped inside a 2-story lobby with an open atrium. "Awesome job," said the front desk receptionist, ignoring a ringing phone in order to give him a standing ovation. The lion from Boston nodded, letting her know that he was indeed the cat who had eaten the canary. "You're the best trial lawyer in America." "Yes, I am," said the 6'2" Jackson, not blushing. He strutted down the east corridor, passing office after executive office until he reached Linen Hall, a formal banquet room of 500 round tables dressed in white linen. He gave a tug on the lapels of his blue pinstripe suit, tucked the front page of the Boston Globe under his arm, and opened the door. 3,000 employees yelled, "Surprise!" They were on their feet, clapping and shouting praise for their hero, for he had returned from war, a legal battle in California of great significance. The prosecutor smiled and squeezed outstretched hands as if running for political office. "Thank you. Yes, good to see you. Thank you." Standing 90 feet away on a platform stage was Simon Letcher, the firm's 69-year-old senior partner. Napoleon-like in build and every bit as ambitious, he signaled for Jackson to join him at a table reserved for important staff. The young prosecutor knew it would be unwise to decline the invitation. For the past 35 years, Simon Letcher had manipulated a steady rise to power within the company. He had persuaded, bribed, and blackmailed those who were one step above him on the corporate ladder. Grabbing tiny bits of authority at every opportunity, the outwardly pleasant, inwardly devious criminal trial lawyer had, 2 years ago, claimed the firm's top position of power, chief executive officer. Jackson maneuvered his tennis athlete build through a gauntlet of pats on the back before finally reaching his mentor. Letcher shook Jackson's hand and said, "Welcome home. Nicely done. Please sit by me at the head of the table. It's not every day that a lawyer wins a landmark case." The silver-haired CEO then walked to a nearby lectern, adjusted the microphone, and addressed the standing room-only crowd. "It gives me great pleasure to announce a man you can be proud to let your children emulate. This man graduated #1 in his class at Harvard Law School. He has never been defeated in a court of law. 2 days ago in the Golden State, he won the most important legal battle in the history of our nation, I give you Paul Jackson, American hero. 3,000 cheered wildly as the lion from Boston stepped to the podium. He gazed upon the adoring masses like Caesar perched in the Colosseum. "Have you heard the good news?" teased the handsome attorney. He thrust the front page of the Golden Globe high above his head and shouted the headline, "Christianity illegal in California." 3,000 U.S. citizens seemed content to scream and clap forever. The courtroom warrior held high the banner of victory, displaying it proudly as he turned slowly to his left, then again to his right. Again he shouted the headline, "Christianity illegal in California." 3,000 registered voters rocked the building, shouting and applauding their approval. 39 million people in California must now obey, stated the lawyer, or face criminal charges. 3,000 political activists shook the rafters with a deafening chorus. "Jackson, Jackson, Jackson, Jackson." Their champion raised both hands. The banquet room quieted. The brave decision 2 days ago by the Supreme Court of California confirms what this law firm has been preaching for years, that it's dangerous to allow cult values from the past to determine our country's future. "Down with the Bible," yelled a research assistant. "Yes," cried a co-worker, "down with the Bible." "Outlaw the Bible," shouted another. 3,000 devout communists chanted, "Down with the Bible, outlaw the Bible, down with the Bible, outlaw the Bible." "You're right, my friend," said Jackson, "and I promise you the federal Supreme Court is going to hear this case. Freedom is coming." 3,000 who hated America and everything she stands for beat the drum in unison. "No USA! New USA! No USA! New USA!" Several minutes passed before the young attorney could be heard above the din. Then he said, "We envision a workers' paradise for this country. No more empty promises from the failed experiment of free enterprise. Soon, our new America will provide the necessities of life. Food, clothing, and shelter for every American, from cradle to grave." The storm outside the building caused the lights in Lennon Hall to flicker off, then on again. "And as you can see," quipped the lion from Boston, pointing to the crystal chandelier hanging in the center of the room, "the courtroom gods agree with us. Jackson, 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 Jackson. We rejoice in presenting Rose versus Christ before the Supreme Court of the United States, a court that sees America as we see America." The chant of 3,000 employees of the Voice of the People caused the walls to vibrate. "No USA! New USA! No USA! New USA! Christians may have their God," shouted Jackson into the microphone, "but we have our gavel. Down with the Bible! Outlaw the Bible! Down with the Bible! Outlaw the Bible!" The charismatic lawyer was pleased with the reaction he had inspired. As he sauntered from the podium, the thunderstorm that had threatened to engulf the coastal city of Salem unleashed its full wrath, hurling torrents of rain and spears of lightning at the town. Yet the violent storm didn't dampen the enthusiasm of the 3,000 communists huddled inside the national headquarters of the Voice of the People. They pledged to redouble their efforts to build a new America and vowed to channel their zeal to their 300 affiliate offices throughout the nation. That's the end of chapter 1. The Alpha Reservation by Lou Painter. I suggest you get a copy and read it. It's quite a revelation, because the Alpha Reservation is where Christians may be headed in the near future.